So for today's adventure, we are in Mount Rainier National Park, doing a hike into Grand Park via the Eleanor Lake Trail. The hike today should be about 9 miles round trip, and I think about 1,500 feet of elevation gain. Even though we'll be gaining elevation, it should be fairly moderate climb. When we get into Grand Park, we should be able to look south towards sunrise and see Fremont Mountain, Fremont Lookout, Skyscraper Mountain, some of the more popular hikes in the sunrise area. Anyways, today's adventure, Grand Park in Mount Rainier National Park. It's almost 1 mile and 400 feet of elevation gain. You arrive at Lake Eleanor. It is pretty.
Split 1, split pace, 20 minutes, 45 seconds per mile.
So we're 1.5 miles in so far, and it looks like about 480 feet of elevation gain. We've hit a nice meadow with a great view of Mount Rainier off in the background. The parking lot today was pretty slammed, but we were still able to find a place to put the car and sensibly get it off of the road. Anyways, we still got another 1,100 feet of elevation, I think, to gain before we get up to where we need to be. So we just clipped off mile 2, and we're still mostly cruising through big timber, a lot of hemlock, a little bit of Doug fir, and we've climbed 560 feet in elevation at this point of the trail. So we're at 2.8 miles and just over 1,000 feet of elevation climbed. We just finished our second pretty big climb of the day. I think it's going to be fairly easy going the rest of the way. So 3 miles in and a hair over 1,100 feet of elevation gain, we're arriving at the northern end of Grand Park. Yes, Muir's on the other side of the mountain.
I knew it. I was thinking about this whole time. I was like,
And then
I wanted to make sure.
that's Fremont Mountain right there. You can see the lookout on it. And then straight in front of us, there's a small peak straight in front of us, and that's Skyscraper.
It looks so tiny from here.
It does look tiny from here.
It was so scary though.
Yeah,
The last little bit was scary.
I know it wasn't. It was not sketchy.
It seemed like it.
See, Skyscraper's just a little bump.
It looks really pathetic now.
So we're at 3.6 miles. We're still crossing Grand Park. We're really close to 1,200 feet of elevation gain, which means really the climb for the day is over. We'll pick up the other 300 feet on the way back, just doing the little rolling hills on some of the flat straightaways. Anyways, Grand Park, absolutely fantastic. And really, we hit the good views. What about the 3 mile mark? Yeah, so not too long of a hike to get into absolutely fantastic country. Definitely worth it. So flat and so open. so 4.3 miles, 1,200 feet of elevation gain. We're arriving at the southern end of Grand Park.
That's not fun anymore.
It's fun. Now, what trail are we on now?
Northern Loop Trail, James Park, Fire Creek Camp, Berkeley Park, Lake Eleanor.
Let's go a little ways to the right on the Northern Loop Trail and see if we can get a view down into White River. All right, so if you take the track in all trails, which takes you past Grand Park, it does take you out to a view of the West Fork of the White River with Skyscraper Peak right there and Fremont Mountain and the Fremont Lookout right over there. You can see the lookout with your naked eye very easily. It doesn't show up on the camera, it's too far away. Anyways, it's worth extending it a little extra. What was it, another half mile past the end of Grand Park?
You can see the Wonderland Trail just there.
Yeah, you can see it just barely. Over where we saw the goats and the bear.
You can see the skyscraper one above it.
5.2 miles back at the trail intersection, and we're hanging our left back into Grand Park. Woohoo!
Was I expected to say that?
No, you weren't expected to say anything. It was my dorkiness in control there. Your job was to walk and be awesome. So the one important thing to note if you're going to do this hike is that the dirt forest service road into the trailhead definitely probably needs a higher clearance vehicle and a four-wheel drive just to be safe. We didn't need four-wheel drive today. There's good driving conditions, but the potholes were ridiculous. We drove in with a Highlander, a Toyota Highlander today, and I was glad I had it instead of my little commuter car that I almost brought because of the gas mileage and decided that I better not risk it. And I was glad I didn't. I think my little commuter car would have fit into some of those potholes. Okay, so 9.6 miles and about 1,500 feet of elevation gain. We have arrived back at the trailhead, so we're going to call Grand Park.
In the bag.
It's in the bag. So it's only 3 miles into Grand Park, about 1.2 miles across the top of Grand Park, and an extra half mile on the Northern Loop Trail to get to the Mount Rainier White River overlook. That extra half mile was definitely worth the view. Definitely an easy hike if you're in good hiking shape or a trail runner. Probably moderate if hiking is a little bit tougher, but either way it's worth it. The views were absolutely fantastic. Anyways, Grand Park is in the bag, and Rebecca says,
Get outside.
and use lots of sunscreen to collect dirt and have hiker legs.
Yeah.